Good afternoon. Welcome to our General Laws Subcommittee, Procurement and Open Government. We have one important bill this afternoon, Senator Locke's SB number 18. And I believe the plan at this point, we've been trying to work on something so that we would have a consensus, we'd have a bill from each house we could go with, and we've done a lot of work on it. And I think there's maybe one little section, it's a very simple change, but it's very complicated and it may need to go elsewhere. So I'm going to turn the gavel over to Delegate Simon.
All right, Senator Locke, do you want to sort of briefly explain your bill? Because I think we've seen something very similar before, but tell us what you want us to know about your bill, and then I'll let Delegate Carr tell us how she wants to proceed.
Yes, Senate Bill 18 is almost identical to House Bill, to Delegate Carr's House Bill, except for one small area that is a bone of contention between us. The bill adds certain requirements for covered institutions regarding construction management and design build contracting, but with the exception of that area of contention, we're almost there, but not quite.
Gotcha. All right. Is there anybody here in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of the bill or opposed? All right, we've heard this before, so I think everybody's pretty much, we know where everybody is. Delegate Carr, did you have a substitute that you wanted to move?
Yes, I did. We've worked on a number of stakeholders. We worked on a substitute that we wanted to put on the House bill and also the Senate bill.
All right.
So I can just go down the kind of review that some of the people, we've heard some of these before, but I'd be glad to go down some of the details of this.
All right. So I guess before we take a motion on the substitute, why don't you go ahead and tell us what it does and highlight the major differences for us.
All right. So this, some of this is the same and some of it is some of the consensus wording. This stipulates the design bid build as the default method of procurement. It prohibits the public owner from considering previous CMDB experience as a factor in pre-qualification or shortlisting potential bidders. However, it remains a factor for the final selection. For contracts brought by a covered institution, scoring criteria can be provided to an unsuccessful bidder on request. It allows public owners to post subcontracting opportunities on EVA, or in the case of local public bodies, on their website and/or EVA. It requires all procurement documents to be posted on EVA, or in the case of local public bodies, on their website and/or EVA. It requires DGS approval of the procurement method for state agencies. It requires DGS approval of the procurement method for higher education, with an appeals process and an additional oversight on the execution of the project delivery method for the rare times they disagree. If the project uses general funds in whole or in part and is greater than $65 million, then the covered institution must obtain approval from its Board of Visitors or its governing board. If the project uses general funds in whole or in part and is less than $65 million, then the institution may appeal the decision through a three-pack committee consisting of representatives each from DGS, House Appropriations, and Senate Finance. Upon a successful vote, the covered institution would then include a representative from DGS to the extent practical, to be included in the selection of a construction manager. This requires a public vote for a local governing body, if required, and it adds additional information about the project complexity to the required annual DGS reports. Finally, the bill includes an enactment clause that directs the Department of General Services, with the assistance of House Appropriations and the Senate Appropriations and Finance, to assess the implementation and administration of the changes we are making with this bill. The report is to be given to the General Assembly in 2029. This enactment clause serves as a set of expectations that we will not continue to change this section until we have several years' worth of data to instruct any such changes. And I believe the bone of contention that is, if folks are looking at the bill, it is on line 237, where it follows after, however, in the selection of a contractor, the local public body may consider the experience of each contractor on comparable construction management or design-build projects. And the controversy is whether or not construction management or design-build, those four words come out.
All right. All right. So is there a motion on the substitute? It's been moved and probably second that we adopt the substitute that Chairman Carr just explained. As many as favor of that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, so the substitute is before us with the controversial language acknowledged. I think that it sounds like, Madam Chair, that were we to adopt this, you could likely reject it, but we'll get in conference and see if we can't work out that last small difference. Is that right? All right, is there a motion on the bill? Second. It's been moved and probably seconded that the bill report.
Do you want to hear any?
We asked if anybody was here in favor or opposed before. Is there anybody, having heard that explanation, that wants to step up? If not, the clerk will open the roll.
Oh, they have. Okay. Let him step up.
Oh, I'm sorry. We do have somebody. You guys got to be quick. I move fast. Don't be shy. If you want to come up and talk, I need to see some motion towards the podium. Come on up. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Preston Bryant, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Virginia Water and Waste Authorities Association, which is about 35 public service authorities across the state, the Municipal Drinking Water Association, the Association of Municipal Wastewater Agencies, Fairfax Water, Alexandria Renew. You may pick up that I'm largely concerned with public utilities. When it comes to water and wastewater treatment projects, they're almost always complex projects, highly technical, highly complex, and they can run anywhere from $100 million to $700 million. Witness, for example, the Richmond and Alexandria CSO projects, the projects that are, they're $600 million projects or more. Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania have hundreds of millions of dollars of projects going on right now, and the list goes on. With these complex, highly technical, very sizable, very expensive projects, it's very likely, or it's as likely as not, that in addition to price, they're also going to consider executing these projects by construction management. That's a very efficient, very collaborative way. The controversial language says this whole section is about construction management and design build. That's the title of the section. In the section that has some interest is to make sure that project owners can consider whether a contractor has construction management or design build experience. When they're doing these kinds of projects, that's very important information to have, just to consider it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll be brief. Brandon Robbins, Associated General Contractors. And while we do have some concerns with some of the provisions and compromises in the substitute and where we're at present, specifically around putting a threshold in there and some of the inconsistency in treatment of previous experience, we are supportive of the compromise and greatly appreciate Senator Locke and Delegate Carr and all those who've worked for hours on this. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody in opposition to the substitute? All right. Seeing none, we had a motion properly seconded to report. Oh, well, here we go. I'm sorry. You guys come towards the podium if you want to talk. You can get in line. I promise I'll recognize you. Go ahead.
We are opposed to the substitution, specifically the line 237. Other than that, we've had stakeholder meetings, a lot of discussion. This bill actually came out of the House unanimously. This provision is being added. This is an added provision, and it affects small to medium-sized businesses in a very bad way. That's why we are opposed to it. It wasn't in SB 18. It was not in 1108. And it's gone through. 99 people stood up on the House floor and voted for this, and 40 people on the Senate voted for this particular recommendation and provision. We ask you to do the same.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tony Biller, I'm with Nielsen Builders. The way that those 5 words, small 5 words, are written, I feel like that is an opportunity to exclude people who do not have that particular experience. They may have constructed projects using other methods than those particular two methods, and you have 2 contractors and you're weighing them, and one has done design build and one has not. But they've both done a project of similar complexity and size. That was the language that was adopted in the House, similar complexity and size. Obviously, the selection committee is aware that one may be a design build and one may be some other method, but to actually give license to the user to say, I'm going to pick this one over this one because I've got this exclusionary language in there. That's what we don't like. The local public bodies don't have that language. The covered institutions don't have that language. We think it ought to be uniform throughout and simply say projects of similar complexity and size. It's not excluding the fact that you may have used those methodologies, but if you put it in, it could exclude people who have not. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Paul Davis, I represent the Virginia Association of Roofing Professionals. We oppose a substitution for all reasons previously stated by my colleagues. Thank you.
Gotcha. So I think we understand where the conflict is. And again, there's probably some more work to be done on that. I appreciate you all speaking. I didn't mean to cut anybody off. Like I said, we're moving quickly. So thank you guys for speaking. All right. Anybody else to be recognized? All right. Seeing no motion towards the podium, we've got a motion properly seconded. The clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. The bill reports 8-0. Again, gentlemen, that doesn't mean your concerns weren't heard. It's just part of the process and how we keep this moving forward. So thank you all for coming. All right. Madam Chair, return the gavel to you.
Thank you, Delegate Simon. Is there any other business to come before the committee at this point? Move to adjourn? Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.